So Alex Pereira beats Magomed Ankalaev in their rematch easily. And what is amazing about this win is the fact that this was a shorter time than Pereira versus Jamal Hill. Alex Pereira had his best performance against his best opponents. Like, let that sink in. Like, there was no doubt about the performance. There's hardly anything to critique in his performance, right? And it was so fast, there's really not a lot to talk about. But first of all, let me just acknowledge a couple things. I was so wrong, right, about Alex Pereira being past his prime. And it makes sense because he was never that young guy who came into the UFC. The guy was already in the later stage of his age compared to a typical fighter when he came to the UFC. So I shouldn't have put a lot of weight on that. I really shouldn't have. The guy is an old vet. He's an old dog. And that doesn't affect anything. So yeah, he had his fastest win against his best opponent. 100%, in my opinion, that takedown defense is good. Because he did defend a takedown from Ankalaev in this fight. 100% takedown defense rate against 2 fights. Right? Alex wasn't mentally broken, and he was just intense, right? I talked about how, man, Ankalaev broke him mentally. Why is he seeming upset? Why is he overreacting? This and that. Again, I blame Magomed Ankalaev's manager, man. If that guy didn't take his Twitter to start talking shit, maybe Ankalaev would have been more focused in his training. Because obviously... Obviously, he needed to have been focused on that. And I've noticed a lot of guys, when they take this talking shit route against Pereira, it really doesn't age well. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. Alex Pereira said a bunch of things before their second fight. After the first fight, he talked about how he was injured and he wasn't really 100% in that fight. And, you know, I saw it as an excuse. I was like, man, this guy is coping, man. This guy can't handle the fact that he lost in an embarrassing way. But it makes sense, especially now, because I think it was very fair to say Pereira did not look like himself in the first fight. He looked off. He looked flat-footed. He wasn't as aggressive as he normally is. He wasn't like going for the finish. All that stuff that we know Pereira for. The reason why he garnered such a big fan base in the sport. He just didn't look like that in that first fight. And that's a fact. And he gave a bunch of reasons why. And now I actually do believe him. I actually do. Bruh. Crazy shit, man. Won by TKO in round 1 at 1 minute 20 seconds. Pereira avenged his loss against Ankalaev gracefully in the best way, right? From all back since 313, people were criticizing him, including me, counting him out, proved everybody wrong. He hurt Ankalaev early, followed with those ground strikes and elbows, kept going, and he forced a stoppage, right? Now, speaking of injuries and not being 100%, if you noticed, after the fight, Ankalaev kept like playing with his toes, and he always does that. I think he has an issue with his feet, but I think he was injured, and there was a sequence. I can't play right here. I can try and find the picture, but there's a sweet sequence where he checked the leg kick from Ankalaev with his toe, and that shit looked like it hurt. And I think that's when he broke his foot. He was wearing a cast after the fight, and he was asked about it, and he did talk about how, yeah, I think that foot is broken, but we got to check it out before we decide when next we want to fight. And they did ask Ankalaev who he wants to fight next. Straight up, he wants to fight Jon Jones. So there's a possibility. And this shit pisses me off so much, man. There's a possibility we will see Jon Jones versus Alex Pereira at the UFC White House. I hate that shit so much. I hate it. But speaking of Jon Jones' brother passed away a few days ago, so may his soul rest in peace. And that was one of the nice things Pereira did in his post-fight speech. He asked for a moment of silence for John Jones' brother, which a lot of people respected, and that was good. That was nice of him. But yeah, um, may John Jones' brother rest in peace. But I'm pissed that he might get that matchup. The matchup he ducked Tom Aspinall for, he's probably getting it. He's probably getting it. So the question is, who should Ankalaev fight next? Four options that are out there. Yuri Prohashka the third time. I don't know. I think we've seen enough of that. But then after Yuri's performance last night, like, what else is there? Who else should he be fighting aside from the belt, right? That's the thing. You got Tom Aspinall, who's about to fight Cyril Gane. We got to see how that plays out. Confidently picking Aspinall in that fight. But after yesterday, I don't think I'm ever going to be confident picking anybody in any fight. I think Alex Pereira has made me realize that every single fight is actually 50-50. For real. You got Carlos Ulberg, who, in my opinion, has the most legit claim. Because he's beat a lot of top guys in the division. And if Dominic Reyes knocked out Ulberg a few weeks ago or last week, everybody will be like, oh man, Dominic Reyes is next. He has to be next. He has to be next. So got to keep that same energy for Carlos Ulberg. Have to be objective. So I think he should be next. Regardless of who is holding the belt, if Alex Pereira decides to vacate and move up, I think Ulberg should be fighting for that belt next for sure, because I think he's done enough. But do I think he's ready? No. I don't think Ulberg is ready. I don't think so. Now, out of all, and John Jones, the final one, like I said, UFC White House, now that is a big possibility. Out of all these guys, I think Alex Pereira still beats Yuri. I think he beats Ulberg easily. Not easily, but I think he beats Ulberg. Aspinall and John Jones are the questionable ones. That will be an amazing matchup. But right now, it's still too early to tell. This might be unrealistic, but this is what Pereira said he wants, man. And hey, Dana White said it himself. He likes him so much. Of course he does. And in my opinion, Pereira deserves whatever fight he wants, man. The man has been a company man for a while, taking fights on short notice when he didn't need to. Losing, bro, how many champions get to lose their belt and gain it back? Like, it's not normal. It's not a normal thing that happens, especially at this rate in their career. Like, I talked about how this guy is almost freaking 40, bro. Like, that was the main thing. Like, this guy is old. He's old. And he's coming back on some Vogue shit and winning the belt back immediately. You know, normally you lose your belt to a champion, and the champion, something happens, they give the belt to someone else, and they come back and fight someone else and become a champion again. But Pereira is different, bro. Pereira is just different. So I'm not doubting the guy anymore. Well, I never did. I need to stop saying that. I never doubted him, but I did sleep on him a little bit. I definitely did. I didn't think he would have this big chance. But Pereira can fight whoever, man. Honestly, if he wants John Jones next, that sounds like some type of retirement fight. And Dana White did say it as well. Like, it really doesn't make sense him trying to go to heavyweight unless he's thinking of retiring, and he may be, and it would make sense to have that UFC White House card, because if you guys really think Conor McGregor is on that card, you guys you're tripping. We're never ever going to see Conor McGregor in the octagon again, and I'll keep saying this. If I'm proven wrong, I'll be happy, but that shit is not happening. So right now, it seems like we're most likely going to get Pereira and Jones, since Pereira wants it. Initially, Dana White canceled John Jones from his book because he embarrassed him. But respect to Poatan, man. Everything I said about him still stands, right? I still think a well-rounded fighter would give him problems. I still think he's one of the best strikers, but as a fighter, I don't think he's that well-rounded. But man, who gives a fuck, bro? Who cares? If you can end guys with the left hook over and over and over again, ain't nothing else for me to say. So that is me taking my humble pie in where I was wrong, all right? That's me taking accountability. It's almost like he purposefully lost to Ankalaev just so he can have another champion on his resume. Just look at his record, right? Was fast tracked, okay? That's still a fact. He was fast tracked in the UFC. How many champions on his record? Israel Adesanya, Jan Blachowicz, I'd missed him before, Yuri Prohashka, Jamal Hill, Cahill Roundtree, Sean Strickland, although he beat Strickland before he became a champion, and then Magomed Ankalaev. Seven names on your resume of fighters who are champions, all were champions. So say what you want. You can say, oh, PEDs or fluke, or he only fought strikers, blah, blah, blah. He was fast tracked. Whatever you want to say, one thing you cannot say about Pereira is that his resume is trash, or his resume is not that good, or his resume is overrated. Man has one of the best resumes in all of UFC history. So respect, man. Respect.